Tyler's already in this morning, and he is having flashbacks to the media match. By the way,
yes, I am. Yes, I am. You know, Jarrett, there was a moment when I really thought I was going to tap one in at the back post, and you went up for a header, and it like skimmed across the top of your head, and I thought the world was coming down.
Yeah,
but I was there. I was there.
It do be like that sometimes. It's kind of like it's the same thing of when I try to overhead kick. When I hit the ground, it's basically recreating the third act of the movie Moonfall. So yeah.
Has your leg stopped bleeding yet?
Oh
yes.
Wow!
But again, once again, I think it was like Monday morning. I was working in my home office, and my daughter came in and was like, "You have to wear pants from now on when you play sports." Thanks, kid. Cool.
Oh well, you know, the genius of the bunch is definitely looking out for all of us. Yes, they did, Abby. They actually did survive.
Yes.
The cleats made it, and it's amazing
the
what happened.
Cleats weren't the problem; it was the rest of me.
Yeah, the actual physical presence of Jared Smith was what went wrong in the media match.
Anyway.
Opening kickoff. Brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. There's your QR code blocking all of our heads this time. For those of you who are watching, however you're watching us, whether it's live on the 280-character app on Twitch or on the YouTubes, go to Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Don't forget to use the code SoccerDownHere15 to get 15% off your purchase. They in turn take 10%, reinvested into the things that they think are cool. Part of the youth initiatives, youth programs, that kind of a thing. Just ask our friend Melissa Ortiz, who was at Allianz last night watching Lily Johanna score at the age of 16 for the national team. But Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Use the code SoccerDownHere15, and you can go from there. All right, guys. Opening kickoff this morning, we go to Hungary. And you're going, what in the blue hell is John talking about?
No, we know exactly what it is. Go ahead, tee this up, baby.
Yep. We know how leagues are sometimes where, you know, you come to the last day of a competition, the last day of the ladder, and some folks got to win, and it's got to be like really wide margins to either survive or thrive or stay afloat or improve their lot in the standings. For this story, we go to the Hungarian youth leagues. And Tyler's going, what in the hell? The Hungarian U14 League, and this is from our friends at the other four-letter paper, saw a final day to top all others as the Karagiazi SE beat bottom of the table Palmanostora SE 43-1.
Jesus.
In the last game of the season to overturn the 42-goal difference advantage that league leaders Miklosi GYFE boasted heading into the season's climax. In the last match of the campaign, Miklosi thought they'd done what they needed to do in order to win the league as they beat mid-table Nylarinchi LSC 1-0 in a low-scoring encounter. Copy continues. However, an even stranger result was to happen as Karagiazi SE scored 43 times on the final day of the season to take the title by 1 goal to finish the campaign on 43 points and a plus 132 goal difference compared to their rivals' 131 goal difference. According to the league's fixture list, all games kicked off at 10 a.m. on the same day. Now the Hungarian FA is reported to be opening an investigation after the league's authorities reacted to allegations of match fixing and other malpractices. Match fixing in Hungarian U14s. While the investigation is set to start, Karagiazi currently still hold the league title. The defeated Palmanostora SE lost their 15th and final game of the 16-match season, having won the other game, but had conceded 155 in their 15 outings prior, equating them to seeing over 10 goals a game fly into the match. So Hungarians' youth leagues are now under investigation for match fixing and other malpractices.
Somebody got paid.
U14s.
Somebody got paid. There's a bag of money floating around somewhere on a soccer pitch in Hungary.
But it's going to have to be a big bag because I don't quite think that the exchange rate is what you think it is these days. But yes, Hungarian U14s under investigation for match fixing, overturning plus 43 goal differences.
Is there a way to watch the replay of this match?
I don't know. It probably is, by the way.
Because I just want to see, 11 other guys stand there while the other 11 guys just walk the ball into the goal 43 times.
Well, it was like the one goal that came across on the social medias where dude's at the top of the 18 and you see the defender at the top of the screen, and the second that the guy's inside the arc and heading inside the 18, the defender just basically stops, drops, and rolls. And he's a good 8 feet away from all the action. Literally, it's like he was wacky on the junk or something, and literally just kind of spills himself, and the guy eventually does score. But yeah, literally it's like, oh, it's inside the 18. I think I will fall and roll and be nowhere close.
I'm doing something, guys. Just throw yourself.
Yes.
Looks like the media game the other day.
Yes. So Hungarian U14s and the media match, they are drawing comparisons, strangely enough. I know that shocks everybody. But yeah, when you see something like that, the Hungarian U14 is under investigation for match fixing. You're like, okay, we got to talk about that. But welcome to Wall Pass Wednesday. So that's Wall Pass Wednesday, and that's opening kickoff. Brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Don't forget to use the code SoccerDownHere15 to get 15% off your purchase day and take 10% reinvested into youth games. Cool stuff from our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. So Tyler, how have your last 3 days been?
Nothing big has happened.
Yeah,
not at all.
Nothing.
No, we've been busy. We've been busy with the articles on the website, and we did our normal weekly like post match kind of player ratings and all turned into let's talk about the news that just dropped. So
yeah, exactly.
We had that, and then of course we'll have our normal show, but like it's just been busy. It's been busy, and I never like to see somebody lose their job, whether it was warranted or not. Yeah. But that's where we're at.
Yeah. And I think that one of the things that is lost on folks, I think at least in the initial elements, I think that's lost on some folks is that there are other individuals attached. There are families attached, and you're trying to. There's all of the other elements that are attached here in the 3D element of folks losing their jobs, and I think that gets in the day-to-day, I think it gets lost in the sauce a little bit, where you just see that one individual go, and it doesn't initially register that there are others involved, and there are families involved, and there are other elements that are attached to all of this, and it's not a fun day, and it's not a good day.
Yeah, I said on our show the other day, like, you can celebrate the club, if you feel like it's moving in the right direction now, like if that's what had to happen to get the club back to winning ways, if what happened is what needed to happen to, essentially get everything back on track, right, that's fine. Like, celebrate your club going in a new direction, whatever. But leave the personal attacks at home. That's ridiculous. And yeah, I mean, it's not just one person. It's, it's 2 assistant coaches. It's all their families. It's, it uproots things. And yes, there is always that conversation of, oh, well, they knew what they were getting into. They know the business. Yes, they do. But that doesn't make it any easier at all, especially when you fully expect you go into a contract, right, in 2021 thinking, well, I'm going to make it all the way through this contract, and then we'll be able to reassess what's going to happen. And that's not what happened, which is, again, it's soccer, but you just have some humanity is all I'm saying. Have some humanity.
Yeah, no, I make a point to reserve the Roy Kent PSA that we have in the drops when it comes to that, if things get completely out of hand. Jarrett, your first thoughts with Tyler here on a Wall Pass Wednesday.
So Tyler, now we've moved on to that next stage in Atlanta United's life. I feel like a lot of the eyes now fall not just to Rob Valentino, but to the players themselves who have not put the ball in the back of the net. How do you go about? And I know, asking you this question, if you had the answer, you would have the job and the money. How do you go about fixing the part where you put the ball in the back of the net consistently, because you should have killed off Charlotte in the first half?
Yeah.
And it should not have been a sketchy own goal and 2 incredibly low percentage shots that undid you. You should have killed, Samba should have killed them off in 15 minutes. How do you fix this?
I mean, I think if it were me, if I were the one getting paid the money, I would step into the shoes of Rob Valentino and essentially just try to unwind everything that may be kind of built up in the players' heads in terms of like, this is the identity, this is, the set of tactics, whatever. Like, you're going to have I think a much broader brush to paint in terms of the way you go into each match now.
Mm-hmm.
And just tell them we're going to go back to playing fundamental soccer, because the talent, I know this has been a conversation too. I feel like the talent on this team right now is one of the better ones in MLS. Am I saying it's the best? No, but it's up there. I really believe that. I believe that the individual talent is there. And I think you just have to go out in these first couple of matches, especially with all the changes, not just the coaching staff, but like with, international duty and travel and everything else. Just tell them to go play fundamental soccer. You each know your positions. You each know more or less your roles, but unchain a few things and just let them kind of run. And if you look back at what Rob did back in 2021, essentially that's kind of what this team looked like. They look like they just were going out and having fun again. And I think that would be the first step to just kind of see what you have at a more raw level. And then you can kind of start implementing maybe little tweaks here and there as the weeks go on.
But with Rob, it is a different challenge this time around. And the schedule is different than it was the last time that he was the interim, because you are dealing with schedule compression, and you're also dealing with international windows on multiple fronts. And so Rob is going to have to take all of these different chainsaws that are attached to this season in Major League Soccer, and he's going to have to juggle all of them differently, because folks will be gone for the Olympics. Folks will be gone for Copa. Folks will be gone during the international window for friendlies and getting prepared for things. And so Jarrett and I were talking about it yesterday. It's going to have to be an integration, and, don't be surprised if he and the staff that he's going to have, I imagine Matt Lowry and Ricky Davey might be a part of it, and with Steve Cook and Jose Silva, and integrating, okay, so Atlanta United 2, these folks I'm going to need here. Who do we see in all of these windows? Because the 2s don't play until the 26th, and so you can have more of them available than you normally would. Do you see folks from the 2s that we're used to seeing with the 2s being, and I mean outside of the Nicholas Firmino, Luke Brennan element, things like that? You're going to have to do some serious juggling, and you're doing some deep roster dives to try to make sure that you've got these game day 20s and game day 18s in this stretch.
Yeah, and I think in a way that might be a blessing in disguise, only because, if you kind of go with what Lagerwey said in his press conference the other day, in one way you have everybody being looked at, right? You have from the top to the bottom being looked at. And so that can backfire, I think, in a way. But I think from a talent perspective, if your head coach was just fired, his 2 assistant coaches were just fired, then you have the president of the club coming out saying everybody's kind of on watch, we're coming up to a transfer window, then maybe that gets a little extra out of some guys. And we talked with Abe from 92.9 the other day about this. Like, I don't think it's that the guys aren't trying. I actually vehemently disagree with that. I don't think it's that they're not trying, but I do think there are maybe some habits and some things that just don't agree with their play style that have crept in. And now they need to kind of wise up to that and work through it. And so if you're told that maybe there's a little more pressure on you to perform, you get a little extra out of them. But then on the other side of the coin, you have some of these guys with the 2s. I mean, it could be an emergency call up. It could be the Ashton Gordons of the world or whoever, who they feel like they have something to prove every day because they're trying to make it to that next level. And now this is a golden opportunity for them to step in and show what they're about. I still think it's hilarious that, speaking of him, Ashton Gordon, he got his first team debut before he got his second team start. I think that's hilarious. But, you've got a lot of guys that are gonna have to be relied on coming up. You've got Tyler Wolf hopefully coming back from injury soon, which is one. But you've got so many guys out. everybody's going to have to step up and play their part, and it's not going to be easy on Rob at all.
Jarrett, go for it.
Let's talk about the GG of it all, because I've never seen headlines dropped with such flawlessly grim timing as the Fox Deportes one, as we're sitting in the room waiting for Gonzalo Pineda.
Yeah.
Also, the Fabrizio Romano dropping after Garth talks to us yesterday or Monday. How do you feel about the whole thing, man? Because it feels like at this point we're just dotting I's and crossing T's.
Yeah, I think it's a matter of time. I think their actual transfer window starts. Is it June 26th or June 22nd?
Yeah, 26th, I think. It's 26th.
So I imagine you'll hear something concrete, like an official announcement before then, because everybody kind of went up in arms about what Garth said. Like Garth or anybody is never going to come out in a press conference and say, "Oh yeah, we're just about there."
Yeah,
that's not going to happen. So, and then the Fabrizio Romano one comes out basically saying that they're down to the fine details, but essentially everything else is done. Man, this all started with Gigi looking to set himself up to get paid a little bit more, which is totally fine. And I love Giakoumakis. My youngest son loves Giacomakis. That is his first favorite soccer player. So that one will hurt for sure. He loves hearing Mike scream, "Boom, Giakoumakis." So, but at the end of the day, I mean, the guy, he has been injured, and Atlanta's making bukus of money. Not that necessarily is a thing for Atlanta United, but you're still making money.
Mm-hmm.
And the player is getting what he wants. He's getting paid more, it seems like. And you're opening up a DP spot going into a summer transfer window where you could potentially make a move. Now, that's not to say that Garth will, because we know Garth is going to kind of take things slow, which is fine. But it gives you options and it gives you opportunities. And I think you could, with the right decisions, find somebody who might be even more effective than Yorgos Giakoumakis, and somebody that can stay healthy more often.
Mexico window opens June 24th and is open until September 10th. So we were on the right week of the calendar. And so that Monday. So happy Monday, June 24th. Your Liga MX transfer window is open there. And then you also possibly face the notion that Thiago Almada, if he balls out in Paris, could be sought after publicly. And once again, I know that we don't see any rumors right now because folks ain't talking in the media. And Garth said this as well. It's like you don't do transactions through the media. So just because we don't see anything involving Thiago Almada doesn't mean folks aren't kicking the tires on Thiago Almada. So you could be chasing a summer through Leagues Cup where you end up having 2 DP slots available and conservatively, $30 million starting on July 18th with the Major League Soccer window opening up, where you could be making some serious moves again like you did last season, looking for distressed assets and trying to address the issues that you had.
Yeah, Lagerwey said too that as of right now, like the way it stands right now on June 5th, they are just going to be possibly looking at, I think he said fringe players, guys on the outside, which is understandable. Because I don't think you should ever stop trying to fine tune those things. But, Stian Gregerson's not going to be able to be bought down regardless of what happens. So the most that you'll have is those 2 DP slots. I fully expect, this is just my opinion, but I fully expect that this team has at least 1 new DP by the time they get a new head coach. I wouldn't be surprised to see 2 new DPs by the time they get a new head coach.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, because you now have a guy in Lagerwey who has provided vision for the club in terms of, player acquisition. I've said it a million times. Carlos Bocanegra can bring in whatever talent he wants. He's really good at finding talent. But I think Lagerwey and him work well together, but Lagerwey provides, kind of the parameters that says, all right, go get the best talent, but do it within this.
Yeah, because he's now the business side where he was on the soccer side in Seattle. He's now the businessman. Right.
And so, I don't think you're going to have trouble finding talent to bring them here. And Atlanta still does have plenty of draw. It's not LA, it's not Miami, whatever. That's fine.
It's not
But you still-
Charlotte. Marco Royce.
New York, play on a
Marco
baseball field. But yeah,
Sorry.
you've got the bins. You've got, still more people turning out for a match on a weekly basis than just about anywhere in this hemisphere. Like you have, a growing city, a World Cup city. You've got lots to sell a prospective player on. So I do think as long as the coach that they get, whether it's Rob staying or not, the coach that they bring in fits the style of whatever DP or DPs that they try to bring in. If they do in the summer, that's what you care about. Whether it happens in the summer with the coach or the winter or in the middle of the season, I don't care, but they have to have an idea of what they want before they go out and try to replace Giakoumakis.
Jarrett, go for it.
No, I don't disagree with you. It's it can be weird, and glad you talked about the idea of 2 DP slots, and then even younger slots getting filled, because I'm still not convinced that we are not going to have some really hard Caleb Wiley discussions if the Olympics go the way that they're capable of going.
Yeah.
It feels like you could be in for not even managerially, but player wise, like an abundance of those fringe moves. And yeah, I guess I wanted to clarify for people that Atlanta United has never negotiated through the media ever. They probably never will. So just don't take it as set an obsidian when they say, well, we're only going to do the fringes. Well, that's because that's what's available right now. They're not going to speculate on Giakoumakis or Amada or anybody really. But yeah, I feel like the Olympics could also just be a circus potentially for Atlanta United in the shopping window.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing that's really difficult, I think, because we've had that conversation all year of the depth at Caleb's position. And now, of course, it's going to depend on how Rob wants to play. Is he going to play a back three? Is whatever new coach, if you do have a new coach coming in, is that person going to play a back three? Are they going to do a traditional, left back, right back, whatever? So I think there's a lot to look into, but the depth at that specific position, I understand you can mix and match and you can put Abram possibly there. You can move Caleb up to the wing, but that left back position in general doesn't have a ton of depth. I mean, you got Hernandez, and you have also at the end of the season, 8 players that are all on option years who, you might not pick up. So I think Caleb would be the one that I really wish Atlanta could have a serious conversation with and try to give him something to keep him here for a little bit longer, to just not even from a bragging rights standpoint to say we brought this kid up from 12 years old, all that, but you financially, you want to be able to have, less overhead and stop worrying about bringing guys in, right? I remember last year, Brad Guzan had the conversation referencing Tyler Wolff about how it's difficult for a team and players on a team like Atlanta United to come in that are homegrown to get time unless they're balling out, essentially, because Atlanta's going to go spend money on a need. And if they need somebody at the left back position or left wing or whatever, they're going to go find it, which puts the onus even more on a kid like Caleb or Tyler Wolff or whoever to just up their game that much more. But they both have that talent, especially Caleb. And Caleb could absolutely go to the Olympics and have a phenomenal time. And I would not be surprised that the day he gets back or before we start hearing tons and tons of rumors. But I would just like to see Atlanta give a shot to try to keep him if they can.
To answer your question, it is at the end of this season. This does not take into account options that could be either picked up or denied. End of this season, Brad, Dax, Jamal, Daniel Rios, Ronald Hernandez, Nick Firmino, Efra, Tyler, and Jay. That is what you're staring at with Atlanta United. Guzan, McCarty, TRA, Rios, Hernandez, Firmino, Morales, Tyler Wolff, and Jay Fortune. That, like I said, that does not account for options to be picked up. So that's what you're staring at the end of the calendar year.
I mean, there's a lot of young guys in there, right? You've got a lot of either homegrown talent or talent that's come through the twos or whatever, and you don't necessarily want to get rid of them either, right? But especially considering right now where they're at in terms of cap space and all,
Do you know how much cap space they have, sir?
I've heard rumors. That's all I've got. And then I don't know what those rumors
you might need Javi Armas in this stretch coming up to play in the midfield for the first team.
Yeah. I would love to see that.
You might need it. Jay's gone. Bartosz is gone. You might need him back there because Dax can't play 3 games a week anymore.
Nope. I would love to see Dax stay next year, though. I would.
Absolutely.
I think this team has looked great in terms of, everything, all things considered, like taking away the results. But I think this team has looked solid with him back there. He is a great leader. He is kind of that Lorenowitz guy that everybody's been asking for so long. But there's a handful of those in that list that I would love to see get another year and even another contract if it works out. But the new coach is obviously, I would hope, is going to have a big say in some of that.
Oh yeah.
Because if he doesn't, then I don't know what we're doing. But the new coach has to have some kind of say in it.
Assembling players, and you, coach, will have these players to work with. I didn't have a say, but no, these are the players.
Yeah.
No coach wants that situation unless you're an up and coming coach that'll sit there and go, well, yeah, okay, I can work with this.
And even then, like that's got to be an up and coming coach that knows the league well. And that's something Lagerwey talked about as well. Like he wants a coach that has some kind of MLS experience. So, because it is different. So I think there's just so many doors that are opening at one time right now with the firing of Pineda and the timing with the transfer window and everything else. It's just Garth is going to have to navigate this, and it's going to be a little bit like tiptoeing around eggshells. It's not going to be easy because you got to get all the steps right, or you're going to throw things off, by 6 months or more.
Tyler Pilgrim from Scarves and Spikes at ATL Pilgrim on the Twitters, Scarves and the letter N Spikes on the Twitters on the 280 character app, hanging out with us as he always does here on a Wall Pass Wednesday. What was the initial response on your programming about the removal of Gonzalo Pineda and the staff? What was the feedback that you guys have been getting?
Unsurprising, I think was the main thing. I think it had been, going on long enough. The results have been going on long enough. I said it that it doesn't matter what business or sports business or sport that you're in, results like that, while also saying, we want to be top 4 and putting out these lofty expectations, like those can't go hand in hand. So it did feel like it was a matter of time. I think the timing, this is about the best that you could have done for sure going into this international break. But I think overall it was just unsurprising. And of course there's been the little bit of, hey, let's pump the brakes a little bit on like celebrating the guy losing his job, celebrate the other stuff moving forward. But, I think the overall thing has just been like, it was a matter of time. So it was unsurprising.
And, when you look at things in the Eastern Conference, we know the Eastern Conference, to paraphrase Nick Khalifi, it's a knife fight in a phone booth. That's just how it's going to be, and it is. Yeah. I mean, right now, Atlanta, had they won the match, and that position still has not changed, that they are a win out of the playoffs. Literally, there are 3 groups right now in the Eastern Conference. You've got Messi and Friends and Cincinnati. They're like Group 1, and then you have Group 2 that has some gaps. I think it's like 5 or 6 points from like 3 to 7, and then 8 through almost everybody, short of New England, is within 5 or 6 points when it comes to getting into the playoffs and being in that playoff discussion. So, you have a good week, you rocket up the standings, but that's just how it's going to be in the Eastern Conference. And it is going to take a manager, regardless of what team we're talking about here, 1 through, I will leave New England out of the discussion, 1 through Chicago, to navigate your first and your second teams, to understand who you've got, who you don't have. Orlando, I think, is losing 8. In the Western Conference, I think Minnesota is losing 9 to Euro and various competitions. Atlanta United has, I think, 8. So it's in these situations, and LAFC is losing 5, but they're big names. And so it's going to be taking that navigation of who you're losing, what your second team looks like, what you can do with cap. And like I said, man, if you know what's going on with the cap, could you like tell the rest of us here? Because it is something that it is a drum that I have been banging on for years to have a better informed electorate, sir, to have a better informed fan base. I think that so we can all understand where teams sit, what they're doing to dance with, what they've got to dance with, how much room they've got, to know where you stand when it comes to the salary cap, so fans can sit there and go along for the ride instead of scoffing at the whole notion of looking at what LAFC is doing and bringing in Handsome Men FC to see what Messi and friends are doing. And it's like, oh, somebody's injured. Oh, okay, so we'll just bring in somebody else, you know.
Yep.
The 3-card Monty that Chris Henderson is doing very well down there. I think that we need to have this information. And that's why I said, if you've got it, sir, can you release it to the rest of us and let us know what's going on?
I'm going to charge $2 per pamphlet on the roster rules and salary cap.
Yes.
No, I mean, so Tommy on our show, who's I see him in the chat talking crap about FIFA, by the way. There's still only one person here who has scored a goal against Paulo Neto, so I'll just leave that out there.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
So, but no, he definitely is a little more in tune with it. But I think what Lagerway said the other day was essentially where they're at. Like they can't do much right now, unless they make moves. So, but I mean, almost every team in MLS has to deal with the same set of rules. So you've just got to hope going into this, because like you said, with the standings as they are right now, this season's not over for Atlanta. I've been like screaming from the rooftops. It's not over. You're not New England. You're not at the
You're not New England. That's the bumper sticker right now at this point of the season in the international window. You're not New England.
You're not New England. So if you can string together a handful of results, you just got to get into the playoffs. That's what matters. And then like the Supporter Shield's gone. Like I'm not sitting here trying to say like Atlanta's going to go win the Supporter Shield, but you could still win Open Cup and you can still make it to the playoffs. And you never know. There's so many wild cards between now and both of those scenarios that anything could change. So is it going to be easy? No, not even kind of. Like Rob Valentino's got a hill to climb, massive hill to climb.
Uphill both ways in the snow, barefoot, all that.
Yeah, 5 miles one way, whatever.
Yeah.
It's not going to be easy, but I do think you have things like maybe you get the new coach bounce, maybe you get some of the young guys that do get called up that are going to have to show out, and maybe they bring a little extra. Maybe you get something out of them and you take some of these teams by surprise. Like there are so many things that could happen, and strongly could happen because it's Major League Soccer. It's not the Premier League. Like we're not looking at 4 teams that are just always going to do the same thing.
Y'all and everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. So, the timing of this could not have been better. If it was going to happen, it had to happen, right? And it had to happen sooner than later. Yeah. But that doesn't mean the season's over. The season's not a wash yet.
Who on this roster coming out of the international window are you most looking forward to see how they respond, provided they'll be here, from now to the end of the season, whenever that is? Who are you most looking forward to seeing how they respond to the current state of affairs with Atlanta United?
Are we talking like normal first team player or just anybody on the roster?
Anybody on the roster, doesn't matter.
Slish.
Okay.
Slish, because for a few reasons. Comically, he left and now it's come out publicly. We can all say like he got married.
Mazel tov.
Yes. And then is going to the Euros. But since he left, the Giacomakis rumors have really kicked up. And of course, head coach and 2 assistant coaches get let go. So, but taking the humor out of it, there is no player in Atlanta United's locker room, no player, not a single player, that takes a loss as upsetting and as frustrated as Bartek Slish. I mean, Giacomakis could be up there, but Slish, it hurts his soul to lose or to have a bad result.
Art takes it personal, man.
He does. And you have to go, like, there's something to that, though, because this guy is a championship winner 4 years in a row. Like, he came here off the back of another trophy.
Yeah.
So he's not okay and not used to losing. And so, you never want to demoralize a new player that, you bring in, you sold all this stuff to, and then you get here and all of a sudden it's a rough run of form. I really want to see, like, Slish, and he's remained good. That's the thing. He's been good throughout it, even though the results haven't gone Atlanta's way. I would like to see what he can do coming back into the team and just maybe having a little less pressure to do everything himself. I think it will elevate his game even better than it already is.
See how the honeymoon is going with Bart coming when he comes back?
That too. Yes.
After the honeymoon.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, for me, once again, it's, looking at the DP situation and figuring out, okay, how does this work? How does it work after the Olympics? The creating of the opportunities for guys like, for an Ashton Gordon, probably for Matt Edwards, probably getting calls up, for Javi Armas, who's probably going to get called up to help out in the midfield, considering the absences that are going to be there. It is, you have opportunities here for individuals that there are those of us who are the second team sickos, I guess we could use that hashtag on a Wednesday.
Yes.
Where we've seen all of this work, and we see how we've seen Luke Brennan before Luke Brennan was Luke Brennan. We saw Noah Cobb when he was 15 years old going up against Cameron Lancaster, who was twice his age at the time, and not flinching in those kinds of situations. And you see what Noah Cobb has now. To see Efren Morales grow into his 6'9" frame and be the center back that he is, not taking any fear from anybody. Seeing the development from the academy pushing forward and now presenting itself as first team opportunities. For me, that's the element in this that I'm looking forward to, in addition to how the players respond to Rob.
Yeah. And I think Rob is definitely a huge factor in that, because I've seen some comments from folks that are just kind of like concerned, because I think one thing that most people universally agreed on, which is rare with Gonzalo Pineda, was how much he integrated the young players. He definitely prided himself on that. And you have to, I think that's great. Now, Rob will do the same thing, because Rob has been kind of through the pipeline as well. But then if Rob doesn't stay on as the head coach, like who they bring on, you got to hope that person continues kind of that not tradition, but like that necessity. And I don't think Garth is going to let that slip through the cracks, because he publicly came out recently, talking about how they want essentially the same play style to be played from the, academy all the way up to the first team. And so they're going to have somebody that is brought in that's going to fit that mold. But Rob is going to keep allowing the younger guys to play, the Noahs, the Efrains, the Jay Fortunes, the Firminos, like all those guys, and probably even more. They're going to get time. And I think they're going to have a little bit more confidence as well.
Well, and you look at Open Cup just as an idea here. And I know that it wasn't necessarily a focus, but you are 3 wins away from getting into the Triple C, the CONCACAF Hemispheric Extravaganza.
Yeah.
You are 3 wins away from getting into that tournament. You've got Indy 11 coming to the Fraction in early July. Then you would get the winner of Sporting and FC Dallas. Sporting and FC Dallas ain't doing well in the Western Conference either.
Nope.
So that presents itself as another opportunity. You got to do that one. You got to do that one under circumstances away from Atlanta, but nevertheless. And then you would get the winner of Sacramento, Seattle, LAFC, and New Mexico United. How much investment does LAFC put into their matchup against New Mexico, considering the losses that they're going to have with the Euros and such? Sacramento, I think, is the favorite to me to beat Seattle in that other matchup. And so it could be, once again, chasing after, the possibility of LAFC, New Mexico United, Sacramento, and Seattle coming out of the West. And so I think that the Triple C is winnable if the resources are there, meaning player absences and such and continuity, where you could end up getting another trophy in addition to trying to work your way back into the playoffs in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah. And for anybody that, because I can see it now, I can see the Twitter chat now. If Atlanta does win this year, especially if LAFC doesn't make it to the final,
Yeah.
and Atlanta does, I know there's going to be, there's a huge asterisk next to this win.
Then don't lose.
I don't care. Silverware is silverware. I don't care. So it would be really, really funny though if they won Open Cup this year.
It'd be funny if they won the CONCACAF Champions Cup next year too. Yeah,
be crazy. Yes, but
Club World Cup. Here we come.
Hey, here we come, baby. But no, I mean, for them to go through everything that they've gone through and only play one MLS team, if somehow LAFC gets knocked out of it, that would be it would be cosmic humor. I would love
Playing the frozen envelopes at US Soccer, man.
Man. That's how it be. I will be the biggest New Mexico fan coming up soon, though. So
you got to get your Meow Wolf jersey.
Yeah, I'm going full colors and everything. So yeah, I mean, but just think about what that could do from a confidence standpoint, right? Like you go out and you make a run, whether you win it or not. That's a big confidence boost. But again, you've got a lot of soccer left to play. You got a lot of soccer left to go through, and no, it's not going to be easy. But the season's not a full wash yet.
On one axis or another, I don't believe that it is. What is going on with Scarves and Spikes as you catch your breath and do multiple shows in a week?
We're actually gonna have Jason on tonight with us.
There you go.
Jason will hop on and chat and talk about all the goings on of the week.
Mm-hmm.
And we're on a campaign to, let me check real quick while
you're on a campaign.
We're on a campaign to get to 1,000 YouTube subscribers. We're close.
Okay.
We're close.
Well,
we're at 970.
All right. Well, hang on. So
30 more.
Scarves. If I could spell scarves, Scazwords. It's me and fat fingers. Scarves and Spikes. So all right. So let me see if I thought that I had. Yeah, I have subscribed. So you got 970, dude.
970. We're 30 away.
Okay. So 30 away from Scarves in Spikes. And they've got the full screen of Jason, the photo with Jason wearing the hat and the sunglasses in front of Adams Stadium in beautiful, bustling Northeast Atlanta. the file photo of Jason. So scheduled for 5/6/24 at 1900 hours. So Jason talking Pineda, GG, and anything else on his mind. So. You didn't think I know we never hoped that these weeks are this busy, but that was why I wanted to ask about what the response has been on your show and your programming leading into your normal programming that is Wednesday nights on Scarves and Spikes.
You know, we did the spaces as well, and that's where people get to come in, obviously, and then they can give their 2 cents, whatever they may be.
Anonymously or not.
Yeah. There was nobody that came in that just felt like this was out of left field.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think everybody kind of felt it coming over the past few weeks, few days, especially. That's how it is. You know, that's sports, that's soccer, that's this industry. But I gotta say, I wish Pineda all the best. I wish Eugenio and Diego all the best, their families all the best. But you know, now we move forward and see what happens.
Yep. What's in the mug this morning, and what is the mug this morning?
Ooh, so well, this is the same. This is the Scarves and Spikes mug.
Got it. Yeah. So
you can
blatant promo
on the website. Yes, blatant promo. I got cappuccino this morning.
Wow.
And it is tasty.
Wow.
French vanilla cappuccino.
You're getting all big leaguey on us.
I know.
He's going all Euro and getting ready for the TST and the Euros. He's going cappuccino this morning.
Yeah, I'm getting ready for all the celebrations of our the old land over there.
Yeah, let's see. For me, that would be Norway. I don't know if they qualified for the tournament or not, but we'll figure it out. As always, my friend, you know you can crash at any time, but as always, great to see you and your mug and your contents and your office. Now that you have assembled everything in the new office with the move.
Well, no, I'm still at the old house. We haven't got everything moved over yet, but we're close.
Wow. So it's going to take like 9 people to come over and help you move all of your stuff and put it in the new house.
Yeah, I'm going to have like 10 boxes of scarves that'll have to go
over. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, not at all. I love it. I love the collection.
Shower rods, my friend.
Yes.
Shower rods on the doors.
Yep.
That's absolutely
Right there with
true.
you.
Be well, my friend. We'll catch up soon.
See y'all.
All right. That's Tyler. Tyler comes by on Wednesday.